Good morning. Things have been moving around a lot since we were here 2 weeks ago, and today is the penultimate day, I guess, the day when a lot of things are happening, Michael. Good morning, Michael O'Brien.
Good morning.
What is happening here?
They're pumping it into a cement truck, into a pumper truck. Pumper truck pumping it into the ring.
So that this truck here is doing the pumping, right?
Yeah, they're putting the cement truck pumping it into there, and this truck's doing all the pumping.
Yep.
And they got another truck for standby just in case this one happened to break down.
Okay, because the point is, this has to be all laid at one time.
It has to be a continuous pour. It's going to be all done today. 250 yards of cement, around 25 trucks.
250, 25 trucks?
Yeah.
Got to be continual.
Should be about 3 trucks an hour for 8 hours, they're hoping.
So that goes directly from there right into the pipe, I take it?
Yeah, there's a holding box there, and then it goes out of the holding box, the holding tank, or whatever they call it.
Is that air they're pumping in? Do you know each time? Do you know what that is that moves that along?
No, I'm not really sure.
Okay, we'll try to find somebody as we go. These are coming this morning from the Plattsburgh quarries in Malone, which are now tied into each other, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all out of Plattsburgh. Yeah. Started pouring at 6 o'clock this morning.
6? So you had to get here before that?
Got here at 4:30 this morning.
You wanted to be here to be sure.
Yeah, well, we got all the doors and the fans going and the hoses and everything that we needed to get hooked up for.
We noticed a lot of fans blowing out. Now, what is the primary?
Just to keep the air moving in there, because yesterday it was 90 degrees and it's going to be unbearable in there in a couple more hours.
Yeah, because that cement is hot too,
and then they've been spraying. They have to spread a dust that's a hardener. And they did that before you guys got here and stuff. And they got all them bags in there. I don't know how many bags, but it's a lot. That's all has to be hand spread. So it gets pretty dusty in there and stuff.
So you had mentioned about noon. Do you think they'll be all in by noon? I don't think so, huh?
No. The one guy that's working the end of the hoses there, and you'll see after when you film it, he said if everything went well, they were hoping for 1 o'clock. So that'd be 7 hours.
You think they'd have it in by then?
They're hoping. Yeah. Then they got to work it,
Then they got to work it, and they keep, what do you call it, troweling it. They have the automatic spinners.
Yeah. It's only could be off from one end to the other, 3/16 of an inch from one end to the other.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, now, when this is all done, starting tomorrow, what happens?
They have to leave water on it for 7 days so it doesn't dry too fast and stuff.
They do all of that.
Yeah,
You're not involved in that at all.
No, they do it all. Their names.
And then within, of course, within 7 days you can walk on it.
Within 7 days, they do a test. I don't know a certain poundage that it has to come up to and stuff. You know, but the engineers will be doing that. There's 3 of them on. Bob Sutherland's here. He's the engineer for the project.
Okay.
And he has 2 of his men here working, checking every truck that comes in. Every truck's being tested for cement. And I think one of the trucks, they sent back because it was one of the older trucks.
Okay.
And it wasn't spinning it good. It was coming out chunky or something. So he just rejected one truck and he sent it back.
You've seen cement. You may not be a professional cement person, but you've seen it. Is this looser than the normal cement? Thinner?
I don't think so. It has to be I don't know if it's a force slump or whatever, but it has to be a certain test, and they're checking every truck for that.
Right. You absolutely. You can't replace one little part, can you?
No.
How thick is this going to be?
5 inches.
5 inches. All right. You see it. We don't know what all that's for. Maybe we can find out before we leave what all those pipes. I guess that's also.
I think if you're getting up to a bigger pour, up high, like when they did the bridge and all that stuff like that.
I never saw one of these units before, and maybe we'll get someone to explain that to us before we're done.
The guy right here, the one with the white shirt, one actually moving the hose.
Oh, the blue. Okay.
I don't know who they are.
Okay, we don't know who these people are out here for sure, but you see the man with the blue hat that's holding the hose, that's moving it around. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Very heavy. The number of tons of 225 yards has got to be tremendous.
Yeah, and if you do that every day, whoa.
Yep. And this is the ultimate. This is the point where everything comes together.
Yeah.
You've been working how long since the first day you started to work removing?
1st of June.
1st of June. So that's June, July, and nearly a week into August to get this ready. And look at all the layers here. And the reinforcing cement wire we talked about before.
People will never know how hard it was with all the work that went into it, you know?
Absolutely not.
Everyone was square, every foot since you were here, remember? We
Yes.
were saying the mesh, but every foot is tied.
You tie it
They
every
used
foot.
30,000 ties.
Say that again.
They've used 30,000 of them ties in here to tie all the mesh and the,
You see there, every other one is tied.
yeah. That's
And that-
a lot of ties.
And that gives them something to walk on. And then you can see these little pipes on the very edge here, Calvin. If you look, you can see they're light with red interior. Okay, he's getting this. They're moving now. They're going to take one out. Let's watch the process here.
Everyone now, I think. And they just move it over.
They move it
They're
over
doing
to the next
20-foot sections.
Okay. And they started around 6,
Six.
huh?
Yeah.
Now, here it is 9:25.
And they've done...
If you, I question whether they'll be done here at 1 o'clock. But of course they move along well. Look how many people out here, folks. 4, 5, 6, 10. There's about 15 to 16 people here, all doing their job.
I think they had a total of like 22 to 24 when everybody, the pumpers and, you know, the different guys. A few of them are on break right now.
Let's watch how they take these pipes apart. It's a clamp. They're using water first of all to make sure they get a good seal.
Yeah, for the gasket.
Yep. Then I was wondering how they're going to get this pumped in this far. I didn't realize they had all this hard pipe.
Yeah. Guess he's got 1,000 feet of pipe.
Yeah.
So.
And of course that pipe's got to be cleaned up quick.
Everyone, they go outside
right out
and clean it.
Clean it because that cement will harden very quickly. Now, is there somebody right now checking on the levelness? It must be. I see they got a transit here.
Yeah, it's a laser level. They've checked it pretty close.
You see the long pipe that the man is moving out. That's called the float, and that's a way of leveling it and smoothing it. When the more you work cement, the more it brings the water to the top.
The water's got to come to the top here anyway because it can't go down because of the plastic and your insulation.
And that brings the water up.
It has to come up.
And there won't be much trouble in having it dry today, huh?
No, that's what it's setting up
the heat.
fast.
And this, the board they're using, I forgot that.
It's
what do they call that?
Not a trowel. Can't even think of it myself.
I can't either. They're scraping the. That's a way of leveling it first. Make sure you're in a general. In many jobs where they have cement, they rest their bar
like when you do sidewalks
on 2x4s, you know. But here they're doing it strictly by eye, I guess, and experience.
Yeah, experience.
There's a lot of experience out there. Everyone knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You'll notice the hooks they have to move the pipe. So then they need the pipe again to go all the way across the other side.
And they'll just keep doing it all the way down.
You're watching Hometown Cable, and we're at the Civic Center, still at the Civic Center in Rouse's Point, New York, where a lot of things are happening. You wouldn't know this going by, except all those cars.
All the cars, yeah. Not this many cars usually in July or August.
I thought it was all done and you were having a hockey game in here.
Pretty soon.
You figure you'll be pretty well on season for September, October?
Oh yeah, hopefully we should be open by October 1st, and the 15th I would think by the latest.
Of October?
By October.
Okay, we're going to be coming back probably at least one more time, or maybe twice, before we complete this full video. Once this is down and dried, do you know what the next step is?
The boards are going to be here the day after Labor Day.
All new boards?
All new boards. That's when they're going to be delivered. It's supposed to be 28 days for it to set up really well. So they wanted to give it that before anything, got heavily put on it. And then our lighting, we're getting new lighting too, so that's got to be coordinated somewhere in that, by the middle of September too.
What kind of light are you getting? Are these halogens up here now?
I'm not really sure on these.
They don't look halogen. No. They don't look like
they're coming in with bids right now, so they don't know which exactly ones they're going to. So, that's through a program that the village belongs to, energy program. So they decide actually what we get. For lighting. So there's going to be like a couple different people bidding on the project.
I noticed there's 5 or 6 lights out. Is that a separate switch?
No, because they've been broke over the years, and we've never been able to get to them. It's been broke off up inside of them, and we can't get to them because of the pipes. We can never get out there on anything to reach them.
Okay, so now you'll be able to get out there with the ladder?
Yeah.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to want to climb that ladder up that way up there?
Probably not me, no.
But you'll direct whoever does.
Yeah. They'll come in with a lift or something. I think our electric crew is the ones that are going to actually put them in,
Who is?
The village's electric crew is the ones that are going to install them.
That's another way of floating.
The trowel, or gas-powered,
that's called floating. That's where you use the troweling.
Yeah. They've already put hardener on that end of it too. This powdered hardener. See, all that stuff's got to go in there. All them bags got to be hand spread.
You see on the side are hardener.
Yeah.
And how do they spread that with?
By hand, just like you're feeding the chickens.
Okay, just like you're feeding the chickens.
Yeah,
you know anything about feeding chickens?
No, but I've seen it done.
My father used to say, no, you don't like to feed the chicken, but you like to eat the eggs, right? You see how that cement keeps coming out, and they're leveling. They do one section first, so they got something to work with.
Yeah.
You get to the end here, everything ties in together. That really comes out.
Yeah.
Now you see how there's a hesitation where it's probably air being forced in there or something that moves that cement. That's got to be one powerful.
Yeah.
That young man down at the other end, Calvin, if you go way to the other end, you'll see the man that they are directing all of this. And that pipe is full of cement again.
Yeah, watch out when they pick it up. That's why that guy's got big arms on him.
Yeah.
Took 3 of them.
Oh, that cement is very, very heavy. I don't know what a yard of cement weighs.
I have no idea.
All right, while they're moving the pipe, we'll take a short break. You're watching Hometown Cable, and we're at, again, we mentioned we're at the Civic Center, and please stay tuned because there's a lot more interesting things coming on. All they did was remove part of the flexible pipe and use the rest. You swing that all day and you've had it, huh?
Yeah, he's got the toughest job here, I would think.
He could be a Greco wrestler.
He controls how much work the other guys do, though, because that way they don't have to move it and stuff, They just got to spread it.
There's a lot of every time there's a pump, there's a lot of material that comes out.
Now you'll take another section off.
We're going to see a lot of action now because this is where everything will be changed. We'll see the pipe here, another 10-foot length removed. Out comes the elbow. Now they'll remove here and then just move the whole thing down here. Do they remove 2? Just 1, do you think?
Yeah, I think they'll just
10 feet at a time, maybe?
The elbow will go on there.
Yep. It's all in knowing what to do, huh?
Yeah.
There's the sand is going on.
There's that hardener.
The hardener is being put all the way to the other side. And they're feeding the chickens,
They're
right?
feeding the chickens
Feeding the
now.
chickens. And that makes it harden, right?
Yeah.
And they're you've got to remove that as you go.
Yeah.
I guess because the other is hard. Of course, they've got wood. This is all plywood, so it won't be on the regular cement. And you see the here that's being braced real well, so that it can't move either way with that pressure. That pressure that you're putting moves that pipe.
Yeah.
Looking for a good clean seal.
Yeah.
In addition to what he's doing, he's got to be probably a superintendent on this job. Right now, he's the one controlling everybody's work.
Yeah.
I suppose there's not much of lunch break either today.
No, if they have to stagger, go on there, a few would go at one time. No, I don't think there's any breaks until it's all done.
Yeah.
Then he'll send some of the laborers home and keep the masons, the finishers here.
Yeah. They are much more than a fifth, 20% done right here, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be, I have a hard time 1 o'clock because it's going to get hotter into the day here. And it was nice in here this morning at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. And the air conditioner don't work. You should have frozen some of the ice.
Yeah.
That would have been good for them. It's cold enough. So they're using the hard pipe out there, way out, till they get to the flexible.
I think, I think it's, yes, I think the 2 flexibles are on the end, like. And the system's under pressure too, how the pipes, right now get water.
Yeah, okay, that's the other thing. There's water mixture in the pipes right now.
Yes, they're under pressure, just in case, that way if there was a leak, that they'd see it now.
It would come up through.
They want to find it now in case something happens. I mean, it's been pressure tested already, but with all the people out here and everything,
Yep. Each to his own when it comes to work, right?
Yeah.
Each person that knows.
Yeah.
Get one of these people. We'll ask him what a yard of cement weighs.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Here's where they're wetting it down just to get more water.
Yeah.
So they can float it. That's what you call floating. Look at the difference you'll see as he brings that float. That used to be heavy aluminum or metal. They used to do that with. Today they got the lighter material. You notice how it gets wetter as they put that down? That brings the water up. And of course, any little imperfection is taken care of with the ice.
Yeah.
Right? And
well,
otherwise,
we wanted it smooth because
yes.
for next summer using it.
Yep.
So.
If you're getting any leads or any questions about where it might be cement yet, too early for that?
I've only had one for lacrosse out of Montreal called me, interested in maybe next year setting up a lacrosse inside here, playing down here.
Lacrosse?
Yeah.
That could be set up and taken down quickly.
Yeah, well, I think they'd play right inside the hockey boards and stuff, you know.
On cement, it must be pretty tough.
Well, I think they put down like an artificial knot, you know, the green matting or something.
And they would
like
have
that.
their own for that.
Well, I don't know. I just have to wait and see how that goes and stuff. You know, the guy just inquired about it and stuff.
That may be something you'd have to get sooner or later.
We're going to have to if we want to open up the different things.
Right, because you don't want the cement scratched and worn.
Yeah.
They're going way over on the other side. Does it call for a smooth final or rough a little bit?
No, it's supposed to be smooth.
Smooth.
That guy coming in the door up there, no, the one that's going to come right through the door right now, he's the actual, he's the cement boss.
You know his name?
No, okay. I don't. I know he's from St. Regis Falls, that's all I know.
Do you know what a cubic yard of cement weighs?
2 tons.
2 tons? A cubic yard of cement, he tells us, weighs 2 yards. That's 36 by 36 by 36. Right? A box, and that would weigh 2 tons. And you're going to have 250 yards. Figure that how many you're going to have. You're going to have 500 tons of cement here on top of what's already there. Amazing. Look. The man walking with the green shirt is Mike Hogan?
No, I don't know his last name. It's just Mike. He's from Ellenberg, but he's
okay.
No, Mike Hogan's sitting right down there.
I can't tell here. All right. Well, he just said that is a power trowel. You had already said that off camera, that they're spinning, and that kind of puts everything in place. Probably settles it too.
Yeah. It works the hardener in too.
Right. And you got to remember, you're trying to work the cement, and it'll flow under all those pipes and in and around. Now look at that pipe move here. We were talking about these braces. If you look right down here, Calvin, you'll see how that pipe moves when they pump. It just keeps coming this way.
Yeah, I think there's brace like go.
I think so too. Well, now it can't move. I guess it. Got buckets of water they can work with here. We were just counting the stanchions, your big rafters across, your trusses, and they've done about 2.5, and there's 6 more and a half to go. So they're about 25% finished right now in laying it. But they'll be working like this, troweling in late afternoon.
Yeah.
I just had a very small pour, maybe 8 by 10, near my son's house, and I think it took up to 5 hours afterwards to keep working it. And there's no breaks anywhere for anything, for outlets or anything like that.
No.
If you ever have people here in the summer, you're going to need a lot of outlets. So they'd have to be run out onto it.
Yeah.
Or drop them from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Those are all things you get into when you start using it for something else.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that they're going to have to get, or you know.
Oh, it's going to take a few years of these various things before you get ready to do all the different things that could be done in a building like this.
But it's a good start, for sure.
It certainly is. When you think back now, you would wonder if they could have done this back 20 years ago when they got to 18 years?
17 or 18 years,
Of course, at that time it was going to cost $50,000 to put cement. Today, you're talking
close to $400,000 for everything. You know, that's not even counting the compressors. That's just for the floor part of the project.
But what an asset for the city of, the village of Rouse's Point.
Yeah. And for the whole township. I mean, there's going to be a lot of, it's not just going to be the village people, there's going to be a lot of other organizations and
And it's not a money-making thing, you know. All you're trying to do is meet expenses.
Yeah.
And pay your...
Well, we're going to try to hopefully. We got a 15-year payback here of a lot of money. So hopefully, it can at least pay for most of them.
Right. You got to pay your big salary too, Mike.
Yeah.
Huh? You'll be retired before this is paid back.
No, it's only a 15-year loan. So hopefully I'm 38, so hopefully only got 17 more years to work. Unless I hit the lotto before that.
That's 55, huh?
Yeah.
Are you trying very hard to get these ads I see on the wall here?
I sold quite a few. I've got another 5 or 6 to put up. What we don't have already. It's just been so busy, and Mike Lemuel, one of my workers, makes them for me. So we've just been too busy that we hasn't got time yet to do them. We're going to start getting to them now.
Well, if a person wanted, can you give us any idea of prices or how they can go about getting them?
The big ones, the 4x8s, are $175.
That's for what, a season?
That's for the season. That's for the 6 months.
Okay,
October 1st till March 31st.
Okay, now when you go full season, what are you going to do now?
Well, this year it's going to stay the same up until next year.
Okay.
And then it probably will get adjusted again. I don't know for sure right now and stuff. But right now we put the sign, we make the sign, we buy the materials, and we paint it for you for $175 for the big ones and $125 for the 4x4s.
And that's for a year.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to get some advertising up here in the Civic Center for whatever you have and you're watching this program, you could call, is it known as the Civic Center in the phone book?
Rouse's Point Civic Center.
Rouse's Point, look up under Rouse's Point, correct, R, for the Civic Center, and you can talk about that. And if you want some advertising so people can see it on Hometown Cable every day, call Calvin Castine. Call home.
You're looking for the Rouse's Point number, you better look under Village of Rouse's Point.
Look under Village for V.
Village of Rouse's.
All right.
It's in the V's.
It's under the V, under Village, and it will list the various ones. And while we're talking advertising, don't forget Hometown Cable. You wouldn't be finding out any of this if it weren't Hometown Cable. And Hometown Cable has expenses and also got a good viewing audience, a different kind of advertising, because everyone will not come in to the Civic Center. But those that do, that kind of advertising, you're covering them. And the things that you can sit in your living room and enjoy yourself watching the programs from Hometown Cable, get your advertising. And we thank all the advertisers who help keep Hometown Cable on the air. And we ask those people who don't want to advertise, get your name on the board by becoming a patron to Hometown Cable.
Let's show a sample of that advertising right now, Bob.
Pardon?
We're going to show a sample of the advertising.
Okay,
right
you're going to show a sample of what you could get right here on Hometown Cable. We're going to move along and go back home now and be back here in early September when they're starting to put the boards around the cement rink. You see here they're still unloading. That truck's just finished. There's another one just pulling in. There's 2 more waiting. Before it's unloaded into the chute, as Mike told us, there's testing. The testing is done down here to make sure that the cement is properly mixed, of the right consistency, and that it is the right thing. They sent one truck back, I think he said this morning, because it was an older truck that hadn't mixed it enough. And they're very, very careful. 3 engineers here working for the people of Rouse's Point to make sure this job is done correctly. The most important thing, really, although there are a lot of important things, is this layer, because this isn't something you can replace very easily, if it's even possible. If you tie the wire in the wrong place, you can retie it, but not once the cement is down. And we thank you very much for watching Hometown Cable. We'll be right back. We're going to leave, but you're not. We'll be back here in the next minute or so right after you hear this important announcement or two, and we'll be back here. Next time you see us, it'll be September. Hello again, everybody, and things have changed since we first started our tour here at the Civic Center when they were putting the sand down. I don't remember having a coat on back in June. Things have changed. Close to freezing last night, I guess, and got down into the 30s. We're here for I think this is our 4th trip. The last time we were here, we were watching cement being laid, and I think you've seen that just recently. The first 2 were shown a couple of weeks ago, first 2 times here. We're talking here with Mike Hogan from Hogan Refrigeration in Peru, New York, and Mike O'Brien, the director here, or the manager, everything here at the Civic Center. And things are changing. Things are really taking place. We thought we were going to see the boards going up around, but most of them are already up. And things are really happening, Mike.
Yes, they're moving right along really well. So.
And projected opening date is you're projecting middle of October?
Middle of October, 14th to the 21st, hopefully.
Okay, somewhere in there. Right? And things progressing satisfactory with you as far as time and all that?
Yeah, they are. We're ready for ammonia anytime now, and we have some 6-inch glycol piping to do over here, but we're coming along pretty well. In a week or so, we'll be.
Mike, it must be very difficult to think ahead 3 months and know you're going to be done at a certain day or a certain hour and come in within the range.
Yeah, it is.
Difficult?
Well, those contracts kind of let you know what's going on.
Yes.
You better be ready. So.
And you allow a couple, 3 days probably in your calculations, right?
We figure some things out, and we bring in men according to how much time we have left and how much work is left.
Okay, we're going to go out and see the boards after, but right now, you would have to say we're at the heart. This is the heart of the whole system.
Right.
And it's been replaced. You've got new, whatever we call
these.
these.
Filter compressors. They're 275 horsepower compressors.
That's the motor, talking about 75 horsepower. This is where the work is done.
Right. That's the refrigeration compressor right there.
Okay. This is where it takes place from water to gas, and is that?
Well, not water.
I'm sorry.
We're using ammonia as a refrigerant, and I can tell you a little bit about it. As the compressor pumps, it pumps out this discharge line right here, and now you have a high pressure gas coming through this system right here. And now if you go out through the wall, we have a condenser outside, and as it gets through the condenser, which we have a fan on and also a water pump, it changes from a high pressure gas to a liquid, the ammonia, and it drops into a big receiving tank underneath. And then it'll be liquid ammonia. And as a solenoid calls in here for refrigeration, the liquid's pumped out of that receiver through this line, comes right back here.
Okay. Line's getting smaller.
Right, and it comes into this chiller. This is a chiller. This barrel will be full of liquid ammonia. This will be a gas up here. This is like the bleed off, like a vapor. This is a surge drum, and this will be where the liquid ammonia is in this tank right here. And as we call now, what we're going to do is pump glycol through this with these 6-inch lines that aren't done yet, and that's what will be sent out through the rink through these pumps.
So those 2 will hook up with these some way?
With these pumps.
Right, and this is staying right where it is. Right. And then it goes out underneath.
Yeah, out underneath into a
now,
header.
does this mean there's going to be more pipes here? How are you going to get
out? What these are right here this is a sight glass, so you'll be able to tell the level of your ammonia all the time.
By looking in through here?
Yeah, it'll be black through there.
I see.
But we have 6 of them on, so we'll be able to tell what's happening all the time. When you're dealing with ammonia, you have to put in a lot of relief valves and put in a lot of valves and a sight glass. You want to know what's happening with the system.
Are you set outside? What do you call that unit?
No, that's our condenser.
Was it outside before when you had the other operation?
Well, it was a little different setup. They had a water tower out there, but they had condensers in here that were hooked up. That's why the compressor room, it kind of looked like a bigger system, but really it was the condensers and everything were inside. I guess they were over the compressors.
Okay. The cold weather in the winter and the warm weather in the summer won't affect that enough to make any problem outside?
No.
That is it enclosed out there?
No, it's
wide open.
But
right
the only thing, we do pump some water through it to help with the cooling process and to relieve to keep the head pressure down when we're running. We'll pump water through it, but it's all pitched back into this holding tank over here.
That's the holding tank?
That's the holding tank for the water, and the same water is just going to be circulated all the time. It might hold 300 gallons of water. We use a 3 horsepower Lancaster pump to pump the water.
This is can you say, pretty near complete different system than they had before?
Yeah.
Because
in a lot of ways.
A lot of ways. Now,
in a lot of ways. I don't know if complete's the right word, but in a lot of ways it's different.
The first thing I said when I came in is, wow, you've sure cut down the size. It looked so big here before. It looked like it was 3 times this size, and I think your answer was that this is even bigger than what you had.
Yeah, these are, like I said before, you had a rack system before where you had the condensers in here and a lot more steel. Now that's just compressor right there, and we have condensers outside, and we've changed it, but these are real heavy-duty machines. This is more of an industrial type machine. I think you had more of a commercial type of machine.
Now, I'm looking for something mysterious in here, and you said basically this is a car engine or a truck engine?
Yeah, it's a lot
with the
like
pistons and the rest of the
It's a lot
thing?
like connecting rods and a crankshaft and
Mm-hmm.
pistons and rings. It's a lot like a car if you broke it down. It's run with an electric motor.
Right.
That's all.
Very commercial. This, give me a quick estimate as to how long something like this should last if you run
We're
it
hoping
every...
30 years.
30 years. 30 years. Pretty trouble-free?
You know, actually, it could last longer than that. You'll have to do some
Yes,
parts.
I understand.
But,
Now,
yeah, it should be pretty trouble-free.
is there much like you have to replace any filters or take things apart and replace them?
There's an oil filter on the other side, which we'll replace every year with routine maintenance. There's an
Okay.
oil filter that will drop, but otherwise, you'll see, if anything has to be, it's usually bearings that have to be replaced. If there's something that goes on and bearings wear out, or, you know, you got the
Right.
crankshaft turning, I'm not sure the RPMs, it might be 1400.
Look smaller to you, Mike, when you first saw it? eh?
Quite a bit, yes.
Things have changed. If you bought a furnace, I bought a furnace in 1953 when we put up our house, and it was, you know, it was 6 feet long and this high and this wide, and they replaced it with something
Yeah.
just a little bit bigger than that motor, the whole
that
thing.
thing carry 'em in.
And it's more efficient. You know, things have really changed. All right, this will come through here, into here, and why do you have two?
Well, these are the pumps that are going to pump the glycol out through the rink. We have 12 miles of pipe in underneath the floor of the
12
rink.
miles of
Yeah,
pipe.
of the plastic pipe, and there's a 6-inch header. And these are just the pumps that are going to pump that glycol through all that.
So they're always filled, but they'll be circulating.
Yeah,
The
it'll be
pipes are always filled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just moving around, pumping it. So you have to pump it through here to cool it, because the ammonia is in here where the cooling's going to take place, and you have
Okay.
to be able to pump that glycol through here to keep cooling it.
So,
Just like if you had a built-in pool and you wanted to heat it, and you're pumping it through your
Okay.
pool heater, it's the same type of
right.
thing.
So in addition to what is out there, there's this much liquid as
Yeah.
a reserve?
There's ammonia inside of this tank, and then there's tubes all through this tank. There might be
Okay.
a mile worth of pipe tubes in this tank.
Is that right?
And the glycol goes through the tubes. The shell is saturated with ammonia, and the glycol goes through the tubes, through these lines right here. They're not tied in yet. If you come back in a couple weeks, you'll see what it,
Okay.
what it looks like. And at the same time, we also have 3-inch heat pipes under the floor. Worried about frost. and
Way
that
down,
sort of
right?
stuff. So what we did was, this is a hot line right here. It'll run 200 degrees. So we piped off of this, and we threw this little heat exchanger up here. Now we're going to pipe glycol through that also, and you'll get your heat off of that for the floor, which is underneath our
Underneath that, underneath the insulation? Okay.
Right. So we're going to use we're going to use the discharge gas from the compressors and just kind of short circuit it through that
Mm-hmm.
heat exchanger, and we'll pump glycol through that, and that'll take care of the pipes that are underneath the floor.
Is this likely, although you were pretty trouble-free before, this is pretty trouble-free?
Yeah.
It should be as good as what they had or better, right?
Oh, yeah.
More efficient? Now,
Better.
one of the things, 75 horsepower motor, you told me,
Yeah.
and I said, boy, was I smart. 3-phase. Give me what does 3-phase mean?
Well, it's just more of an industrial type thing for your power consumption. It's more houses where it'd be single phase, and an industrial or a commercial type building try to get 3-phase to keep power down, to keep motor sizes down, and to keep starters sizes down, and amperage draw down, and all that kind of thing.
We were talking, and I mentioned to Mike that, and I didn't know what I was talking about, except I remember that the cast iron plant on the Ridge Road, they put a 3-phase line, special line, all the way from Route 11, all the way up to 2.5 miles or whatever out there, because they were having 3-phase motors, cheaper to run and everything else. Now, the other thing that's been new in here is the paneling. Something about when a refrigerator starts in a house and it kicks on, you could very easily blow a fuse. There's too much
Right.
power, right?
Yeah, these are soft start starters. They're trying to lighten the load a little bit on start. Once it's running, it's not a lot to maintain it. It's the actual start to turn over this machine. So they have, like, it's called a soft start starters for the units.
If you think of it as if you've got a car in your yard and you start to push it, it's really tough to get it going. But once it starts just barely rolling, less than half
Right.
of the power you use can keep it moving even though it's slow. Anything else in here we should know about that, we don't want to be too technical because we don't know what we're talking about. This is where you have to cut the wall to bring the other pipes out,
Yeah, bring
the other
all the
machines
equipment
out.
All the machines out through.
See, it was built around it, and then they had to cut the hole to get out. Now, will something else be put in there and
Yeah, we have it
insulated
all-
or whatever?
We got it all framed out. So
Okay.
It'll all go back.
But you keep that there so that next time.
Well, for now, yeah.
Not during your lifetime,
No,
right, Mike?
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Okay, this is the panel cover probably of the old electrical system, which was
Right
here.
now because our electrician,
Okay.
he's not here right now, but he's working in there.
So that will still
So,
remain?
yeah, that panel will go back
go
on.
back
Just,
up.
we don't want to leave 480
Okay.
volts open right now, so we just have plywood on it.
Okay.
Fine.
Mike, do you have anybody special to work in here? Is that part of your, just your regular people,
Johnny
huh?
and myself, yeah.
You got a lot of books that you're
Well,
gonna
Mike
give
did.
him?
We have it.
You got a lot of books to give him so he can read at home at night,
Yeah,
huh?
we have the stuff, but
They're gonna go through
we're a
the
little bit
system.
ahead of that
Yeah.
right now.
Yes. Okay, we're talking with Mike Hogan and Mike O'Brien, Hogan Electric, Village of Rouse's Point. Of course, we've already told you way back that this is Hometown Cable, our program called What's Going On Here? I'm Bob Venn, Calvin Castine with the camera, and it's a pleasure for us to keep you posted of what's happening. And this is a very interesting story, I think, that we have taken about 4 months or more now that we have been in and out of here. And maybe we'll come back one more time when everything's working and you put your skates on and show us how that rink
I
works.
figured you do that, Bob.
2 or 3 weeks from now, I think
Okay.
we'll be going along pretty well.
We're just outside the back door as we in this beautiful, well-kept field here, the Rex Park. And this is the big unit you call it. I've already forgot what you call it.
This is called the condenser.
Condenser. Okay. So-
Underneath it's the receiver. That's like an ammonia holding tank. This is where the kids should stay away from playing around.
Okay, so they should not be around here.
No.
Okay. And remember, parents, keep your kids away from here for
We're gonna
sure.
fence it in.
You're going to fence it in. So the pipe, it comes out in one of those small pipes in the back?
Right. We pipe through this unit with our ammonia as a high pressure gas, and as it goes through the condenser, it's full of pipes in there, and there's water poured over it, and also a fan. You can see the fan.
Yes.
And air drawn through it. It turns from a high pressure gas to a liquid, comes back into this tank, and ends up as a storage tank. And then when the plant calls for refrigeration, it comes out of this smaller line, like the inch and a quarter
Yep.
line. That'll become that's a liquid, and it'll pump as a liquid. And the end of
Okay.
it is a sight glass. You can see that little column there. One of our welders made that.
Even though you had room inside, you'd still want it outside?
Yeah, we try to get it out. If
For
you
cooler.
where your storage is, well, the condenser has to be outside. The receiver didn't have to be, but
Okay.
it's safer just to have it outside rather than have it inside the plant.
Okay, it's right outside the back door. I mean, if you're out and watching your family playing ball back here or just out here for a picnic, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Part of the cooling system and the whole keeping ice. Thanks again, Mike.
Okay. Thank you.
The last time we were here, we were just about 2/3 of the way down watching them lay the cement in. And they kept going most of that day. It started around 6 in the morning and
And they poured till 5:30 that night. I think they were actually here till the pour went till about 5:30, and they were here till probably 8:30 or 9 that night.
12 to 15 men out there working on
At least I think there was closer to 20. I
Closer
think,
to
that day.
20.
It was a long, hard day.
Okay. How long did it take to get this cement hardened?
28 days. They kept water on it for 7 days.
It did.
continuing.
Kept water on it.
For 7 days with sprinklers going continuously, and then it was 28 days for it to actually cure before you could actually put any kind of vehicle or anything out here.
It was kind of tough because that was one of the hottest days we've had
This summer.
in that whole period, right?
Yeah, it was a tough day for the men that day.
Okay. You see they have started to put up the boarding that came from, did you say Chicago? area?
No, the company is actually out near Buffalo, one of
Okay.
the U.S. offices near Batavia.
Okay.
I think of Batavia, New
Okay.
York.
You
And
did mention to me about $90,000 worth, right?
It's $90,000.
It's part of the overall contract, but this $90,000 for, and when you say boards, that's certainly using the words freely because that is a heavy half-inch, you said?
Half-inch.
Half-inch fiberglass, I guess you'd call that.
I don't know if it's
plastic fiber.
Yeah, heavy-duty plastic.
All right, and then it's aluminum,
No, that's actually galvanized steel.
galvanized steel here, and place on top for all your the glass. Here's the glass, 5/8 inch thick. That's got to be one heavy thing.
Everything. I think each one weighs 2,300 pounds. Each of them pallets right there. So it's 6 foot on the ends, the glass, and along the sideboards, it's 3 foot.
Everything is new, I guess, even including the new Zamboni or a used Zamboni.
No,
whatever
it's a
you
brand
think.
new Zamboni.
Brand new
We only have
Zamboni.
had it for 1 year so far.
And my wife said, "What's a Zamboni?" And that, of course, that's what makes your ice shaves
shaves
and
it,
lays
makes
new water down for the new ice between every period or between events.
This year too, something that's new that we've always used lime in the past for our whiteness on the ice. This year we bought a brand new setup. We're going to use ice paint.
Ice paint for
Ice
the
paint.
whole ice?
Yeah, you put a thin layer, say you put say a quarter of an inch down, and then you spray it with your white paint.
This is on the cement.
No, not on the
No,
cement. You bring your ice up first off the cement until you say a quarter of an inch, and then we're going to paint it. 2 coats of white ice paint, and then you go back over with your, another coating and stuff, and then you gradually bring it up till. So at the end, we'll have 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches of ice.
I'm not a big hockey. I don't understand a lot of the hockey rules and everything, but I do know you have a blue line and a red line and another blue line, and also in the ice along with this white, you'll have a blue line all the way across.
And that'll be painted.
Close to a foot wide,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it'll be the length of that right
Whatever
there.
that is over there, you
So
can
it's
see it
10
on the board.
inches, I
Yep.
think it's probably 8 to 10 inches probably.
Okay.
And then I'll go completely across the ice too. And
So-
that'll be painted
So
also.
you're talking normally September, usually with ice time?
Last year we opened October 1st. We
Okay.
started making ice last year September 18th.
Okay.
So this year we're going to be a little behind because of all the thing that's
Right.
going on. But hopefully I'm open by October 14th to the 21st, somewhere in there.
Every
If
day it's
everything-
income you're not getting.
Yes.
Right.
Last year I took in an income in October. I think it was around 10,000. So
Okay.
I mean, we're going to be down a little bit this year, but it's kind of to be expected with a project of this magnitude.
Who's
going
got
on.
first game?
If I open on Monday, it'll be
Whenever you open. Oh, depends
if-
when you open.
If I'm trying to shoot for like the 14th is the Monday, so it'll be like probably the figure skaters will have the first night. But we're gonna have a grand opening. Will probably be like on a Saturday, so when the games or hockey or something, when we can get a crowd in here and stuff.
These, I just saw a bolt here. These are the bolts
That are holding the boards into the
that
cement.
hold that frame down, that hold, then the boards, and it goes straight through the boards,
Right into the cement.
right into the cement, right straight on down. And you got to remember that this is where the gate will be, and the Zamboni kept in there.
Yes.
And then this is where you come in between the periods. There'll be 2 big gates here, I guess that's
It used
swing.
to be, we used to have ramps here because we always used to went down to meet the ice.
Uh-huh.
Now the ice will be right, where we just drive
Okay.
right on. It won't
So
be
the
up there.
ice limit would be the top of where this yellow is. You can't go any higher than that.
Can't go any higher
An
than
inch plus?
It should be 1.25 inches, I guess, to 1.5 inches.
Right. Now, I asked Mike before, as we were just getting here, how much of this, now you say you would have ice until May sometime maybe?
1st of April.
1st of April. Then are you going to take all these boards down, or do you leave them up for the summer event?
I think we'll probably take the ones on the south side of the rink down.
Okay.
On this side.
And the other side don't bother because they're awfully close to the
You're not
wall.
really gaining nothing by taking them down on that side.
I guess it'd be a good point as any. You'll see the signs up there. These are advertising that you sell to raise money, and then anybody out there would like to have an ad could talk with you.
Correct.
And,
yeah,
and,
just
and,
call me here at the rink and
if
stuff.
you're looking for a prime spot, this is the time to do it.
Because we've got quite a few more sold already. We just haven't got them up yet or made yet and stuff. We've been so busy and stuff.
Scoreboard stays the same. You don't have to replace that.
Don't have to replace it.
Okay. Locker rooms, everything else.
Although there is, I have the guy, because a couple of the wires got broken in the process here. So the guy, Jim's Scoreboard out of Vermont's coming over, and he did tell me he's got quite a deal on a new one, or a used one that he could make the village a good offer on. If the deal comes through, he's not sure on it yet.
Do you have
That's-
only one numeral for the scores, or can you go to 2?
You can go to 2.
Okay, so that they can score all they want, and
Yeah.
you got room for
Yeah.
them.
But it's an older scoreboard and stuff. And
27 before on the home side.
27?
hell, I don't remember that game.
You don't remember that one?
No.
Okay. At this point, depending on how the contract works out, it's a question of whether you get the insulation or not.
I don't. We have some money, I guess, right now for insulation, but we've applied for a grant through the Thousand Island Parks, and we won't know on that until December 1st. We tried for a $40,000 grant, so that would give us, and we've already looked into the price. I guess it's like $80,000 to $85,000 to do the roof for the insulation, and then it was $23,000 to have the people, because it leaks. There's some spots in the roof that leak, so we've got a price to do the whole roof on that, and I think that was around $23,000.
You're not talking about a garage in your backyard here.
No,
You're
this is-
talking big money here.
talking
Well,
it's
big
big.
money. But what an asset it's going to be to the whole area to be able to have maybe a car show. You could have, a flea market.
I've already, excuse me to interrupt you, but I've already got Shazy Hardware wants to have a home show here next
Sure,
summer.
there you
3-day
go.
home show.
There you
And
go.
I've had Indian Reservation out of Montreal is interested in playing lacrosse here 2 nights a week next summer.
So then would you need the boards? No?
I think they'd still use the
Still
boards
use
in
the
lacrosse
boards.
and stuff. I'm pretty sure. Whether they can just play on cement or whether we have to, if they would want us to get, you know, that'll be a question when
Good.
we get into this.
Okay. The other thing is lights. It's a sure thing that there will
Sure
be new
thing.
lights, huh?
Sure thing. They should
New
be.
lights
they
are
should
going
be here
in.
next Monday or Tuesday, and that's, you know, because that's a question of when we open is when them get put up. But they're supposed to be here. Delivery date I think is the 2nd, and they said they'd have them all up by the 8th of October,
Wow.
and that's going to make quite a difference.
Certainly
in here.
will. I hope you people out there who are watching the shows and all Hometown Cable appreciate that Hometown Cable has been spending a lot of time here over a period of the last 3 to 4 months. And we thank very much, of course, also Mike, who's devoted his time to let the people in the area know what's happening in this very, very important new addition to the northern tier. Second to nothing. And the way it's going right now, it'd probably be used more than the Crate Center is.
I hope so.
We're not saying anything against the Crate Center. We're just saying it's a different thing here. It's more of a home type of thing, and you're talking a home show would be great up here.
Yes, I think it will be.
That type of thing is available here, and when you have your big 4th of July next year,
I'll be inside.
A lot of things could be held in here. Lots of things could be held in here. Mike, anything else that we should know this morning? There's a man here you said that's with the boards. We'll try to get a hold of him and see if he can tell us anything. I don't know what he can tell us, but we might be able to give some clues here of what's happening. Now, when you take all this down, there's no room in this building to store all this. That's going to be a job.
We're going to either have to store it up in our building that's up towards the sewer plant. They got a village garage up there that's pretty big and stuff. So when we do that, maybe because that's where we store our Zamboni in the summer. So maybe we can get a place up there to put our boards, because they do take up a lot of room.
That's at least an 8-foot panel.
I think they are like 8-foot panels.
And that's heavy.
Yes, they're very heavy.
Can 2 people lift that? All right. Couldn't put it on a truck, probably.
No,
Huh?
no, you couldn't pick it up and put it on a truck. Basically, they moved them all with a fork or a dolly car or a forklift.
Yeah. And they're still putting them up on the other side, you'll see.
The whole other side, none of it's secured yet. It's there in place, but none of it's been put in and stuff. Everyone has to be, fitted into and stuff with shims. Some of them have shims and to bring them up to level.
Yeah, you have to think that all this was built, over near Buffalo, to come here, to be precise, to go exactly where it was supposed to be, including the holes in the... Of course, there is a 3-inch leeway, I guess, along there that if they were off a little bit. It's not as if it's a one hole. There's a slit, and it could be anywhere.
But that isn't. They're not all like that.
They're not like that, huh?
Excuse me. Here,
Yep.
maybe Calvin can get a better look. See, no, they're not. Actually, they had to be pretty precise.
Yes.
See, there's
okay.
only the regular, On them, they had a leeway, but these are basically right there. They had to be right on, and they did a good job when the cement went, I think you had shown that in one of your films before when they actually were putting them into the...
You noticed the round hole here on top, right here, excuse me. Well, and then there's a control on the bottom. There are round poles that go down in here that holds the glass between them. They fit right down in there, and they're not made to be completely sturdy. They move.
There's a little...
Otherwise, you got to have a little bit of movement there, or else something would crack or break, I would imagine. Now, those glasses also, or the plastics also guaranteed, I assume, for a while, huh?
Yes.
And all that's new.
Yes.
What happened to your old board?
I don't think you don't have no guarantee on the glass.
You don't think so?
No. If the glass breaks, that's just...
It's a fiberglass, right?
You don't know. There was one rink in Connecticut that I've talked to, and he actually runs the ice rink that Yale College plays on. And they had only broke 3 of them like in 18 years. So, but there's no guarantee.
Yes.
I broke one time in Plattsburgh State playing where I couldn't even shoot a puck hardly.
Yeah, but you were tough.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's just the way sometimes if a puck hits flat, it shatters.
Did you tell us in previous call, I forgot this, over a period of time, you did sell your boards to somebody else? You were able to sell your boards to
never sold.
Someone else, okay. So you didn't sell enough. Your Zamboni was taken in on a trade, probably, or something.
Yes, they gave us $8,000 for that, and it was a '72, so it was 24 years.
And a new
old.
Zamboni is what, $30,000?
$50,000.
$50,000.
Yes.
Nothing is free. We'll take a short break. We'll be back and close out to today, the 25th of September. Fall is coming quick.
Here's Bob right here. I don't know if it.
I don't know how often this guy gets home to talk to his wife or on the phone, but he's going to tell her tonight he was on TV. What's your name?
Bob Yuknis.
How do you spell Yuknis?
Yuknis. Pronounced like cook this. Lithuanian.
Okay. Lithuanian.
Lithuanian. Dick Butkus, the
Okay,
football player?
we were talking to some Lithuanians last Saturday up at Line Mountain where they had the mines. There were a lot of Lithuanians. We were talking to a Shusta. S-H-U-S-D-A is the way he...
Okay, must have changed it.
It used to be a Z-G in his name originally.
Okay, but usually I-S, A-S endings,
Okay.
Sort of a little confusing with, Greek names.
Okay,
too.
you're here with the boards.
Yes.
To get them, make sure they're put up right and with the... What company do you work for?
Crystaplex Ice Arenas.
All right, and where is that?
That's located, they have a plant in Burt, New York, and their main plant is in Mississauga, Ontario.
So these were made in Canada?
No, these were made in New York.
Okay, so Burt,
B-U-R-T.
B-U-R-T, that's over near Buffalo, I think.
North of Buffalo, yes.
North of Buffalo. All right, how long have you worked for the company?
3 years now.
Okay, and they make only, I shouldn't say only board, but that's what their main thing is, making boards.
Right, making ice arena boards.
Right. Are there different types?
Yes, there are different styles. Steel boards, they do some aluminum boards, like your professional boards would be aluminum boards, just due to the fact they have their changeovers from basketball to hockey, your mainstay, your
so they
big
change
cities.
quicker and they're easier to move?
Right, for concerts they have to take sections out, so they're lighter weight.
Right. Now, there are other companies besides yourself who make boards.
Yes, but I don't know who
you
they are.
And they're not the good ones either, right?
Yeah,
now,
right.
What I'm getting at is, how did you get this contract? How did you know about it?
I think really they find out about the contracts when they become public.
Okay.
This is a public facility, so they're, they has to be sent out to bid. And
You've got somebody out there watching all these things.
Right, so I think that's how they come across getting these.
So you've been here for a week?
Yes.
Where do you go from here?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Could be anywhere.
Could be anywhere.
Could be Denver?
I'm out of Chicago, so I'm in a hub, where I could fly anywhere.
You mean you live in Chicago?
Yes, I do.
You do get around, huh? All right. To tell us, you came here, somebody came here and measured as to know where
I
things
believe,
go?
it was all blueprinted.
Okay.
So there was architectural drawings.
Okay.
And from there, they design the rink to fit, their openings.
Right.
There's different sizes.
These are not universal sections. They were made for this arena.
The specialties would be where the gate locations are.
Okay, all right.
But for the most part, they are standard.
Okay.
So.
Right. And you brought nobody with you who's putting these up. So the general contractor, not the general, the sub, Murnane, is putting these up under your direction.
Right.
Okay.
I am the supervisor.
You are the supervisor. Ever make a mistake?
There have been some
I was going to say, give me your wife's name. I'll find out from her. Huh?
What kind of mistakes you want?
None. Okay. What can you tell me now? How long before this will be completed?
Well, we're shooting for the end of the week now.
Okay. Once it's up and in, are you pretty well finished here?
Pretty much.
You don't.
We get the glass in, and it's pretty much self-sufficient. The maintenance crew will just have to do some light maintenance, grease the fittings on the gates and the doors. But for the most part, it's pretty much.
But your company is done, so to speak. What kind of guarantee? Any kind of a guarantee? These won't crack or anything like that?
I believe they give a year.
Okay.
Year on materials.
All right. Anything else we should know? Pardon?
What it's made out of?
What it's made out of. What is this material?
This is a polyethylene plastic.
Is this also polyethylene?
Yes, all these three members here, the top sill, the face, and the kickboard are all polyethylene. Half-inch thickness here, 1 inch on top.
Okay. Let me ask you something different. If it weren't polyethylene, what else could it be for plastic?
For plastic?
Polypropylene or whatever different?
Yeah, it could be that. I believe the polyethylene, because it has some elasticity to it.
Okay.
For the cold, it's going to shrink a little, and then, different temperatures.
The company you're with, how many total employees would you say?
Ooh, geez,
how big is
that I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you that.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. It wasn't hard at all, was it?
No,
huh?
I guess
I didn't
not.
ask you, except did you ever make a mistake? That's the only thing that I bet you that threw you. Anything else you can think of, Cal, for Bob? Thank you very, very much,
All right.
and good luck, and good luck in Chicago.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
So, I flew in...
Listen, not only is Bob happy to talk to us, he wants to talk more. He said we didn't get into the glass, and I thought, and I probably said, I thought this was a plexiglass. but it isn't.
No,
It's-
this is tempered glass,
what
real
does that,
glass.
What does that mean, tempered? What do you?
Tempered means it's been heat treated.
Okay.
So actually it's like a safety type of glass, like your windshield would be, where if it does shatter, it shatters in little particles.
So it won't crack, so to speak.
If it goes, it blows up.
It blows up.
It blows up.
And does that happen often?
It's been known to happen.
Somebody's
It's-
head, just
well,
right, huh?
You know, there's certain items that shouldn't hit it, metal, you know, hard objects, you know, not with the puck in mind. No, but there are some bad pucks out there.
What do you mean by that?
They're made from recycled tires, so they have steel in them.
Is that right?
Yes.
And that could make a difference?
That could.
And they're about 5/8, Mike told us, about 5/8 inches
The
thick.
larger size 4x6 is 5/8 thick. That goes around the ends,
Okay.
and then down the sides is a 1/2 inch.
So it's different. I didn't
Yes.
realize that.
Because you don't have so much wear and tear on the side glass as you do behind the goals.
Right? You don't have much straight
With the
shot
puck,
into it.
yes, with
Yeah.
the pucks.
Is it likely to break more with a puck or with someone hitting it with his head or shoulder?
It's hard to say. You know, it could be a fluke. Anything could do it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a man in the stands could. No, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's something I certainly didn't know. It's real glass.
It's real glass, and weight-wise, if you want to know just for perspective,
Yes.
the 5/8 runs, I believe, about 16 pounds per square foot. So if you're 4x6, that's
That-
32 square feet
Times
16. So you're
We had a battery change, and I don't know if we got on there about the 16 pounds per square foot, which may or may not be
accurate.
complete. Okay.
We may have to talk to an engineer or a,
Okay. One other thing we want to make sure that you're not an employee of the company. You're
No,
a
I'm not.
separate contractor.
Yes, I am.
And they hire you so that when you're not working for them, you're doing other things.
Yes.
So that's one reason when you say you don't have many employees,
Right.
you're not one of
Right.
them. All right. The other thing is, though, you said there's about 16,500 pounds in this shipment
Of glass.
of glass plus boards. So if you take out 500 pounds, there's going to be 8 tons of glass on top of these around.
It's,
And you pay that by the pound.
You pay that
No,
by the
it's
pound.
$90,000 for everything, and he comes free. Right?
2 for 1.
To us. Thank you very much again, Bob.
All right.
Lithuanian, that's it. He could move into Line Mountain with the rest of our
Right.
good friends up in Line Mountain.
Yeah.
Hello again, everybody, from the Civic Center in Rouse's Point. We're back for our 5th visit with Mike O'Brien and the crew here at the Civic Center. And this may be our swan song today because ice has been started. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Bob.
We started this back in June, I believe, when we first came in. And are you glad to see it coming to an end?
Very glad that it's coming. Very glad that it's coming to a close. And
Been a
everything.
tough period for you?
Well, a lot of work and stuff. You know, a lot of stuff going on, and it's just good to get this open.
And everything was new.
Everything's brand
I
new.
mean, as far as you're concerned,
Oh.
every day you came, you saw something you didn't know anything about.
Exactly.
Until you started making your ice. We're going to get right into this, and one of the reasons that it's making new ice, you're making ice, the original ice, a little bit different.
Yes. Before we always flooded it and stuff. We'd start out.
Yep.
In the old last year, we'd start out with sprinklers, and you'd had to freeze your sand, which would take 3-4 days to get your sand froze. And then we'd come up with a 2-inch fire hose, and we'd just literally flood it. Probably would take us a week to 10 days to 2 weeks to make the ice. This year, hopefully, we're going to do it in about 5 or 6 days.
Okay. Now, did you have the machines on so that the cement was cold for several days before you started?
They started the machines on Friday, and they brought the floor temperature down to 14 degrees.
And that doesn't hurt the cement at all when you do that with nothing on top of it?
They brought it down slow.
Okay.
You know, that's why they did it. It took 3 days for the first initial startup. They didn't want to bring the slab down too
Okay, now this is what we're going to see operate today. We came to see some more ice being put down. And first thing we want to tell you, there's no name for this contraption. Homemade.
Homemade. Johnny Bernard and Mike Lemieux made it. And the theory behind it is when you put ice down or water down with a hose, you get air bubbles in it. And the ice isn't as dense. So this is the whole theory. When you put it down, it's actually freezing almost instantly as you go down. It's like a miniature Zamboni.
Okay, so where normally you got this 60-inch or 48-inch grass cutter, that you're out there. This is the reverse. Instead of cutting grass, you're laying ice with
Laying
this here,
water
right
down.
here.
Yeah.
That width. So you got to go up and down a few times.
Yeah, we do the whole thing. It's probably, I don't know, 5 feet wide, so it's 85 feet, so it's probably 15 times across.
Okay,
and
so
stuff.
how many times will you have to go up and down to get the ice the thickness you want it?
35 times.
35 trips back and forth.
But at the end, once we get our lines built up, which we're probably going to start tomorrow doing our lines, and then we come up 3/4 of an inch after our lines, we'll probably do the last half an inch with our Zamboni, where we'll just get out there. We won't cut with the Zamboni. We'll just put water down.
What's the total thickness?
About 1.25 to 1.5 inches.
Wow. Wow.
And it used to be, so last year we were probably 3 inches, during the course of the year.
So you won't need that because the sand you had to collect imperfections and things. All right. So you bring water, and this is warm water, cold water, or hot water?
Cold water.
Cold water.
But when we Zamboni in the air, we use hot water.
They tell me that hot water will freeze quicker.
Freeze quicker, and it kind of melts the grooves too, where if you have little indentations and stuff where it'll get in there where it'll melt it a little bit and form a smooth surface.
Okay, so this is working out good?
Excellent. Excellent.
So when you get the ice down, you won't be using this again, hopefully.
So another year.
You're only going to use it another year.
Yeah. It was the same with our pump yesterday with our system. It used to take us a day to a day and a half to put our lime down. We used to use lime. This year we went with ice paint. And it took us 2 applications with our new system that the village bought us, an hour and a half.
Okay.
We were done with 2 coats.
Now, you said tomorrow you will be putting paint down. What do you mean by that? Tell us again.
Ice paint. Actual ice paint. We used to use paper cloth lines for your red line, your blue lines, your red lines. Now it'll be all painted.
You'll be painting
actual
across.
Ice paint. Yep.
Okay.
With a brush, too.
With a brush?
Yep.
So you lay out a couple of strings or something?
Well, we'll lay out all our lines, and we'll string the lines, and then we got templates for our circles, and then we'll paint them.
Okay.
That's
so
all new, too. We've never
painted
before.
This red line, goal line here will be that width?
That width.
And that's the width over there will be wide like that?
Yeah. And they'll come straight, and then we'll have your big circles, your face-off circles.
Of course, yeah.
And your big face-off circle on the end. And your little face-off circles like for out by the blue lines. And
okay, so you'll only do that once. Once that's done, you've got another half to
3/4 of an inch over
top
that.
of it.
So,
okay.
And then hopefully we'll be done that by Saturday or Sunday. We're going to be open Monday for sure.
Okay, Monday for sure. You know, that's the 28th. And now, I was watching TV last night, and someone was quoted as saying, ice time is all sold for the year.
Basically, it's booked every night. It's booked. Tuesday, Wednesday nights, we go to 11:30. We start at 3. Saturday and Sundays are completely booked. Saturday, right now, I do have a couple of hours available from 8 o'clock to 11 if somebody needed it. That's about the only night of the week that there's any ice time available.
You have some public skating involved in there?
Public skating will be guaranteed every Saturday from 6 to 8, unless there is a big tournament or something going on. But I'm going to try to hold Saturdays that it stays 6 to 8 for the public.
All right. Who turned the lights on here, Mike? It's a big difference from the last time we came.
Yeah, we have all brand new lights that went in last week.
Unbelievable. Huh? Look at that. Look at it. The clarity in here. This would be great for hometown cable when Calvin comes now. You're going to be able to see real well. They've been good in the past, but even better.
I can see the puck now.
You can see the puck. Now, you look at it. You see Calvin's coop down there? You look way down. That is a little... your igloo, but you're going to have heat in it this year, I hear.
Yes, we'll put a heater in.
Going to put a heater in.
We're trying to get an elevator up to them, but we don't know if we can get that this year.
Let me tell you, when you're up there for an hour and a half, it gets pretty cold, you know.
It's cold in here.
It's cold in here, and you're running a camera, and it gets stiff and so forth. But he's in behind that glass, get a little heater in there, and he's going to want to come here rather than some of the other places. Okay.
Soccer games in there.
You have you could have indoor soccer, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Now, Mike,
Plenty of room.
before we get into seeing the machine, the glass is pretty wet here.
It's because it's been so humid out and stuff, and with the ice and stuff, you know, and it's still fairly warm.
Okay.
Once it cools down,
That'll all be nice to see. Now, the ladders are going up here. Don't tell me to get ready to put insulation.
No, we had 8 more lights to put up.
You're putting up another row of lights over the
Another row of
bleachers.
lights. When it was contracted out, it was only contracted for the 50 lights. So our village crew is going to run all the new wires for the new. There's 8 more of them that go on the bleachers.
I'll tell you why those lights are there. That's so when people yell at the players can look up and see who's yelling.
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
A hockey player. I was telling Mike that the only improvement I could see that you still need here is the names of the players on the back of the jerseys, or their numbers in different places, because I can't tell who they are. And you don't have anything to do with that, you
No,
say?
that's the high school or the Cougars and stuff. Cougars that do that. They provide their own uniforms. And
They
stuff.
move fast, and I don't know them that well. Of course,
I
you
think
can't
some of the Cougars, the younger kids, have their names on their uniforms. I don't know if the high school does.
It's just, I look for certain people, and I can't tell what the
It's
helmet
tough
on.
with face masks. Yeah.
No. Okay, so you're going to do nets too?
No, the nets are the same.
That's the same. That's because they've never been scored on enough to damage them
Well, hopefully,
by the visiting team.
hopefully our high school will do better this year.
Okay. I didn't mean it. I meant all teams
Yeah.
that didn't score enough. Okay, everything's been painted. So what you got now is just the ice delay.
Just the ice delay and put, well, we're waiting for 7
your
pieces of glass. There were 7 pieces of glass that had to be special ordered. So
Including the
they're
doors.
supposed to be here tomorrow morning at 7:30. We've been waiting 3 weeks for them, so pretty important. Hopefully they're here tomorrow.
Okay, we'll take a short break and we're going to come back. We're going to watch them lay with the miniature Zamboni. Okay, they've stretched the hose out. Mike told us that this is not a special hose they've got for the machine. It was to be used for the ice paint, and they're using it now for the water. They stretched the hose all out. They're going to come back and start right here. And you tell us who's going to be doing this out there? Who's on the machine right now?
Johnny Bernard,
Johnny Menard is...
Bernard,
Yep,
Mike Lemuel,
Bernard.
and Grant Dean.
Okay. And it slides nice on there, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Huh? Now, do you play any broom ball here at all, too?
They used to play this 2 years ago when my first year as manager. We had a team that played Sunday mornings for an hour, but then they couldn't get enough guys.
Okay,
and they didn't play.
so that lays down like that.
They watch.
He's got a control on the handle that controls the water. There goes the water. It's much like a Zamboni, except that
thing.
it's cold water rather than
Hot water.
and it's just laying right down.
Yeah, and it sets up almost, within 5 minutes it'll be froze.
And where that ends like that and you start again, it doesn't affect it
No.
as far as thickness or anything like that, huh?
No. Because when we get to, when the ice is all done, we'll do everything with the Zamboni and stuff. And the Zamboni, when we make our first cut,
Right.
it'll level everything off.
Look at this way that, remember, that's got to be done, as he said, 35 times to get that amount of ice. But this works much better than with a hose.
Yes, and it makes it no air bubbles, so the ice is denser and harder.
Uh-huh. Well, you must be anxious. Who's going to have the honor of the first
Public skating.
public skating? Going to use it first? Well, that's very appropriate, isn't it, huh?
Monday at 3:30.
Monday at 3:30, coming up the 28th. Are we going to be on this week with this, Calvin? Okay, you're watching this on the 27th. So tomorrow is public skating at 3:30 for how long?
3:30 to 5:20.
Okay. That means if you're working, you're not going to be skating.
But I'm gonna schedule some this year, like during the day. So I'm gonna try have a public skating from either 11 in the morning to 1. So for the people that do work afternoons or midnights and stuff, that would like to skate.
Yep. Okay, so they're going completely around, then they come right back up again instead of going up and down.
They'll completely around right here in front of the Zamboni doors, and he's going to go back that way.
They go back the same way.
And he zigzags back and forth from north to south. So then you're not fighting your hose all the time.
Right. You can see it starting to solidify a little bit. You can see it here. Any idea how many gallons of water it takes to...
10,000.
Oh, you got it all figured out. 10,000 gallons will be put down in a little bit at a time like that.
Yeah, give or take a gallon or two.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the hockey players and everything else, you think...
We've only had a few that come in, but everybody that has come in and seen the new lights and stuff has been very
it's
impressed.
amazing. You know, St. Mary's Bingo for our... Okay. I think we're going to watch it. It comes right around here. Oh my, there's a lot of water. Oh, that's really putting out a lot of water. I didn't realize there was that much water going down. It's happening right here. Where'd you get the idea for this, I wonder? Well, Mike's over talking with George Rivers. George Rivers is going to be talking with us after and showing us some pictures. If you remember, Mike said that George has been over here during this whole process and taking pictures, and we're going to see some of those after we finish off in here. You can only watch this for so long. It's a repetition, but a great way. Where did you get the idea for this kind of a machine? Anything you can tell us about that? Or someone said, why don't you get a hand one instead of a big Zamboni?
Well, Mike and Johnny went to a seminar in Burlington, and they seen something similar to this. So they kind of fabricated one ourselves.
Terrific, yeah. It slides easy too.
Yeah.
Yep. It takes two people to keep the hose back and away.
A couple 100 feet of hose out there.
Yeah.
So.
I imagine this is one of the reasons you don't go completely around, because you don't want the hose laying on top of.
You're fighting the hose all the way.
Of course. Well, does it seem like a long time since when you first started tearing up the other one?
It seems like a long summer, since June 1st, or when they got started. I think it was right around the 1st or 2nd when we actually started tearing the boards out.
So we know you've cut a lot of grass, but except for the grass cutting, most of your time's been right inside here on this project.
Yeah.
You're an expert now. You can go down and help somebody else do this?
Well, we know what's under here, that's for sure. And it's good to see, from the start up. So, because we're going to be the ones dealing with it down the road. So.
Well, we've been here for not all of it, but we've seen a lot of, and we hope you've enjoyed. The 2 segments have already shown. You're going to see 3 here. You're watching the 3rd one out here on the 27th.
And we're going to have a grand opening on December 7th, too. It'll be the first home high school game. Senator Stafford's coming. Hopefully he's going to drop the puck for the grand opening. So that should be you guys for that day.
All right. Well, Calvin most likely has already got it. Well, now we'll have his time scheduled.
He'll be playing Tupper Lake 3 o'clock that day. So
3 o'clock. Is that a Saturday?
Yes, a Saturday. Pearl Harbor Day.
I was just going to ask you. Do you know what December 7th is?
Pearl Harbor.
You want to believe it? And it's now 55 years. 1941, December 7th, 1941, a day that will live or has lived in infamy, as President Roosevelt said back then. It's Pearl Harbor Day, and it'll be a big celebration here. I'm amazed at the lights.
It really does add a lot to the arena.
Did you have this kind of a finish on the boards before?
Never.
Never, huh?
The white, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, there was some white over them.
But you didn't have plastic like that.
Yeah, it was only a 1/4 inch.
Oh, because this is great. Wow. All right, we'll see that. Now they overlap quite a bit, huh?
Yes.
I seem to be, yeah.
So that way we don't miss any kind of space, pretty uniform.
Which means that he's more than, you don't get a full 5 feet each time. Much like when you cut grass.
It used to be we'd have to stand out here even with our 1.5-inch fire hose. It would probably take us half an hour to do it one flooding, because you'd lose a lot underneath the boards. And so this, you don't lose no water this way.
Yep, and there's nothing along the sides. Yep, you'll see here it's starting to harden here. Well, it's amazing when you got the Zamboni how quick that hardens, right?
Yes.
It doesn't lay down as much water as this, does it?
We put down in one Zamboni, usually 190 gallons the Zamboni holds, so it's quite a bit of water goes down. Yeah, but you're also cutting with the Zamboni as you're going, too.
Okay,
so you're
ahead,
cutting
yes.
And then you're laying down, too.
All right.
So.
Does it use some of that ice that you're cutting, or is that thrown out?
That's thrown out.
It's thrown out afterward. All right, now the new Zamboni, the newer or used?
It's a brand new
Zamboni. So that could be, you're talking 20 years probably with the Zamboni at least,
huh? I'm sure, because we only use it 6 months a year, so it's not really like an arena that's open, like Plattsburgh State year-round.
Yep. Big business right here in Rouse's Point. But remember, it's not only for Rouse's Point. The whole North Country and part of Lower Canada come here and enjoy the facilities. With the manager here, Michael O'Brien, this morning. And how long have you been manager again, Mike?
This will be my 3rd hockey season.
3rd hockey season. Any plans for the summer yet? Nothing's been...
Nothing really finalized. I do have lacrosse. They're very interested out of Montreal for 2 nights a week for a lacrosse league. Shazy Hardware wants to have a trade show, 3-day trade show next summer. Well, I'm sure inline skating is going to go over, and I'm sure I'm going to keep this place pretty busy. Okay, yeah. We'll take another break. You're at the Civic Center, the well-lit Civic Center. It's going to
It'll be glaring. You're going to see the brightness on the hockey games now due to these new lights. And you'll be watching all of the Cougar games and many of the other games here, courtesy of Hometown Cable. Sam and Calvin. Calvin's got the camera this morning. I'm Bob Venn. This is Mike O'Brien right here, the smiling Mike O'Brien. That's because it's nearly done.
Yes.
There's more noise in here than out on the ice because you're making ice. The compressor's making the noise.
Yes.
Okay, your name is Jack. Jack
Shaheen.
Jack Shaheen.
Yes.
And where are you from, Jack?
Well, I live in Binghamton, but I work out of Syracuse. I work for MG Industrial Insulators, and we're out of Syracuse.
So you're a subcontractor to the Hogan?
Yes, John Hogan, yes.
Okay. Now, when you say you're insulating, what are you doing? You're putting something...
Well, for example, on these vessels over here, we have a polyiso, which is a low temperature. It holds low temperature, so it doesn't have sweat. There's 2 coats on there. We put a Daxel. We put this on every seam. It seals in so no air can get in there and it won't frost. We put 2 layers on there. We stagger our seams. All the joints are done with this. And then we do a finished product. We put a PVC on there.
Now, is that put on thicker than paint?
Oh yes, this is a bond.
Okay.
This bonds every joint. Every joint that's on any part of insulation is sealed tight.
Okay. And then you are doing what here?
Putting PVC on the vessel and all the piping.
Okay, so now you put something else first?
Yes, yes, we have 2 layers.
Oh, okay.
We have 2 layers of the polymer.
I can't hear you. Second. Okay.
We have 2 layers, 2 inches.
2 layers.
Yes, 2 layers on each tank. And then every seam has that Daxel on it.
Okay, and then you put a
then we put a
coating first, and then you put the final. Very nice, looks great. I didn't know they were going to do this. Wow. Easy to keep clean and everything else.
Oh, yeah, you shine this up, you wash it down with water.
Does this have to be done?
Well, for economical reasons, yes, it'll save them money.
Okay.
Definitely save them money. It'll keep it from frosting. See how the pump frosted out?
Right, now, yeah, right.
I did that pump over there.
That's been done.
That one's been done, and I turned that one on, and I shut this one down.
Look how much ice there is right here.
And now as soon as this defrosts, I'll do that pump.
There's what, a half an inch or more of ice on there?
At least, yes.
And then that won't happen once you get it all.
Now this all has to be cleaned up yet, but tomorrow it should be all done.
How long have you been here doing this?
Last week I started, and I'll be out of here this week, tomorrow.
You live in Burlington?
No, I'm Binghamton, New York.
Oh, Binghamton.
Downstate.
Now, Shaheen.
Yes.
There's some Shaheeds in Tupper Lake. You got any relatives up there?
Not that I know of.
Now,
no.
that's Assyrian. That's
Right,
Syrian.
Syrian.
Assyrian, right?
Syrian.
Syrian. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's some Shaheeds up in Tupper Lake
that's good
that
to
I've
know.
met over the years.
Good to know.
All right. How long have you been working for the company?
I've been working for the company over 3 years now.
Okay.
Okay, I've been insulating about 6.
So you move. Where's your next job after you leave here?
Wherever they
You
send me.
don't know yet.
I don't know till I'm done here.
What's your wife say about this?
Well,
Bring home the money,
bring
Jack.
home the- well, it's mailed home to her, so.
Okay, so you'll be finishing what is that?
All this will all be white, like I did all this.
That'll be white.
Everything will be all PVC, 100% PVC.
Okay.
Bob and Mary Gas run a good
You don't put
company.
any on that there.
Nope. That's for a little bit, they get a little bit of heat out of
Okay.
there if you feel the warm.
Okay.
Okay, that's just when it's running.
Okay.
Okay. So Bob and Mary Gas believe in a quality job, so we give
Good
MG.
job. Thank you very much, Jack. And good luck back in Binghamton and wherever you're going.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jack Shaheen.
For MG Industrial Insulator.
Oh, say that again.
For MG Industrial Insulator.
There you go. That's who's doing the job. This is the one thing I don't do I may try to ski at the bootleggers, but I'm not going up a ladder like that. You're not supposed to look down. Okay, they're putting up the plugs, you know, your fixtures for the big lights running along here. And the ladders are very secure down here and up here. And in the middle section, we were told there's no area for them. Down here they're going up, 2 of them going on the ladder. There's not much holding on that ladder up there. There's about 1 inch. When you think of doing your electrical job on the ground, and here they're building scaffolding because I was just told that there's no place to put their ladder, so they're building a scaffolding so they can go up and do the job in this 12 to 14 foot section right here. And this is what they call scaffolding if you've never seen it put together. And that's your platform to walk on. If you think they only build small Zambonis, you're wrong. See, they also build scaffolding. Look how quick they do this. You'll notice you got our coats off because we come into the, what do we call this room?
Community room.
Community room here at the northwest corner of the building. And we are privileged this morning to be talking with George Rivers. George Rivers, well known in the community for many, many years, has been a great asset here. Fire department for how long, George?
Well, still in the fire
Still
department.
in?
40 years.
40 years.
19 years as chief.
19 as chief. Other than that, you didn't do much.
No.
And what do you do now? Now that you've retired from Eris?
Well,
Eris, was it that
yeah,
you were? How many years at Eris?
41 years.
Wow. Wow. I didn't think people worked that long, George.
There's people have worked longer than that, but I was privileged to get a buyout.
And you weren't satisfied with just laying back and do nothing. You're still a fireman. And also, you represent the village here today. And as a village, you're here as a trustee. Not that you're not here representing the village, but you've taken pictures of this over the years, right?
Well, since
Over the months,
yeah,
rather.
over the months since the first week it started till right up to present day, I've taken a couple pictures, pretty near every day.
Yeah. All right. Now let me go back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about George. Now that I've given the highlights, tell us a little bit about George Rivers. Were you born here in Rouse's Point?
Well, yeah, I was born here in Ross's Point, 1935, in June. And I lived here all my life. I spent a couple of years in the service. Other than that, this is where I put my foot down, I guess.
And you decided somewhere along the line that you'd like to become part of the village government here.
Well, that was last year.
Uh-huh.
Few people got after me, says, you're retired, you got time to spend, so why don't you run? So Dick Baker and I got together and we said, well, I guess we can give it a shot. Win, lose, or draw.
It takes time too, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. A lot more time than I thought.
Did you ever give anybody credit for it before, huh?
No, I always thought they sat back, but I don't think they sit back.
You don't sit back.
I guess, lucky or not lucky, Dick and I are both retired, and we're here.
A lot of things happening in this village, it seems, over the years, you know, and a lot of controversy over the years. There's always been a battle here for trustees, it seems, over the years.
It seems that way.
We don't have it quite that way in Champlain as far as the politics.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but it sure gets the people out.
It gets it out. Okay. So, George, are you on the committee for the Civic Center?
I'm chairman of the Recreation Committee, which is the Civic Center comes under that committee.
Uh-huh. So it means all the ball teams, the whole deal,
The
your
ball
recreation.
fields, the boat launch, anything that's got to do with recreation of the village is under that committee.
What other committees are you on?
I'm chairman of the Sewer Committee. I'm chairman of the Code Committee, Codes,
Yeah.
and co-chairman on the Water Committee. There's another, I forgot what the other one was. I don't know. There's 3 or 4 or 5 of them, I guess.
So in addition to regular village board meetings, you have committee meetings, right?
Well, not really.
You don't have many?
We just oversee. I have tried to make it a point to the committees that I'm chairman of, is to try and make my presence known at least once a week, if not more. And of course, when we started this project, being a new member and getting thrown into a project like this was sort of a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is a great project. It's great for the village and
Absolutely.
the area, correct?
Yeah.
Very. I can remember 18, 19 years ago when this came up and all this stuff was moved here, they were talking about cement. Could have been put in a lot cheaper then,
Oh.
you know?
I'm sure it could have been, but I was part of that deal moving this whole thing up.
You
I went
were?
down to Massachusetts and spent a couple of weekends tearing it out.
Were you one of the people that committed yourself to $1,000 at the
No,
time?
I didn't have the money at the time.
Well, we didn't either. I was one of those. We did. We just committed ourselves that we would be responsible if something happened, you know. All right. Now, there came a time here when you decided to keep a record here, not only because you like pictures, but because you're on the committee. And the first picture, you can see what it is here.
Yeah.
You're going to freeze these in, Calvin, and then he can look at it?
We'll try.
Okay, now that's frozen on the screen. What does this depict? What do we
Well, it
look-
depicts that was the first week we started to work here, and we were tearing out all the old piping and headers and everything were all tore out. And that's actually what was left was the back wall. That was the only thing left. All this material was all removed.
Okay, now this is the east wall inside?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's later on, if you remember, we saw all the clamps and all the header things that's right along this wall.
Yeah, right in that, we ended up making a pit
The
there.
pit down at the end that you've seen. Okay. And that was June 5th, 1996. These are all dated. The second picture. Again, this is June 14th.
Okay, now what's happened is that they have now put in all the new fill, and then we put drainage pipes underneath. These are the regular drainage pipes that you use in the fields.
Yes.
And that's to keep any moisture that goes down into the sub-base out of there. And these pipes drain right into the pit, and there's a sump pump.
So that pipe is underneath that, under the cement, huh?
That's maybe about a foot and a half, 2 foot underneath the cement.
Okay. That was I think I mentioned the 14th. We're looking at only maybe 10% or less of his pictures, just to give you an idea. Okay?
That's the amount of fill that's been put in, and all that fill had to be compacted to 100%. And it was. That's all sifted sand.
You can see how thick. We're looking at least a foot there. You can see between the two levels. And those two windows way in the back is the community room that we're sitting in right now. Excuse me. The very first picture we saw is in the same position here where you first saw the sand. And this, tell us about this one.
Well, this here depicts or shows that these series of black pipes here are actually heat pipes. They're not ice, for making ice. And what what happens there is that they measure the temperature of the subbase, and if it starts to freeze, they pump heat through there, hot brine through there to keep it from freezing, because they don't want that to go down any deeper.
Right. That's all automatic, done by
All automatic.
thermostats.
Yeah.
This picture, I can't quite read the date there, but we know that it was this one here. This picture is July 2nd. And this shows,
This is the insulation. It shows both layers. It shows the first layer and then the second layer of insulation. And it just shows how they overlapped all the seams so that you don't...
and this is below the cement, obviously. This is way to the bottom,
Right.
so that none of the coal can come up and bother the cement.
Well, no, go down.
It can't go down, I beg your pardon. Okay,
We want the coal to come up.
okay.
But we don't want it to go down into the subbase, and this also helps keep the coal to the cement level.
Okay, looking in a westerly direction with, again, the two windows are the room we're in. We'll take a short break. Be right back. Okay.
This picture right here shows what they call the rails to hold the pipes, and that was just prior to putting all the pipes down, all these rails were put in.
You know, say these are going from one side of the rink to the other. The pipes go lengthways between those little loops you've seen that when we were doing it.
This picture right here indicates that we're ready for cement. All the steel work is starting to be put down, and the pipes are all in place.
Okay, now the steel work is on top of the pipes, correct?
The re-rod is underneath the pipes, and the mesh, what they call a wire mesh, is on top, and then they're tied together.
Okay, then that's to keep the cement from breaking it. This one, it keeps it good and sturdy, and it's a reinforcement.
It also keeps those pipes nice and straight.
Okay, that was taken on July 26th, I believe. Here we're seeing the same.
Same thing, and it's just it's probably a day or two before we poured cement.
Okay.
Here we are. We're starting at 6 o'clock in the morning on the date on that picture, pouring the concrete, and it was a 17-year wait to see it.
All right, now you'll see just earlier in this today's program, you saw about 10 o'clock in the morning when we were here, they were down about 30 feet or so.
This was taken the next day to finish concrete. Whoop.
This is August the 6th.
That's the finished concrete, and they were keeping it wet. We had to keep it wet for 7 days.
And you had to lay the cement down all in one day. In other words, it had to be continuous.
Right. It started at 6 in the morning and ended at about 6 at night.
Right. September 12th.
It's a compressor room, and we had to take the wall out in order to get the old compressors out and the new ones in. And the compressors are being set September 12th, and what is this, October?
23rd today. If you remember, we saw the wall after it was put back, and we commented about that at the time.
And this is just everything finished, and the boards started to go up. We're putting the new boards up.
We were here later that day also. This was, I can't read the date on that one.
Probably won't, 'cause
And this...
September 30th.
September 30th, also working on the boards here.
Yep. And if you take a look at that,
Oh.
it shows the old lighting
Yeah,
that we had in the arena from day one. And of course, as you realize, we replaced the lighting, and this just shows the difference in lighting if you look at the two pictures. We've got about 75-foot candles down on the ice, and I
Used
think
to be
it's-
10 before,
Yeah.
right? And this is October 21st, right up to date on this picture. This is 2 days ago, Monday, when you started to
Make ice.
Make ice, and that's the very first pass with what they call their small or homemade Zamboni. That's laying this ice down, and very, very good. Okay, what happens next now, George?
Next, I guess we open the doors and we start playing.
And that's next Monday. There'll be open house, right?
This Monday. No, it won't be open house.
I'm sorry, not open house, but they're going to be open skiing.
Open skating.
Skating for the for anybody that wants to skate, 3:30 till 5:15, I think he said. What are you going to have to do with the open house on the opening here on December 7th?
We have just confirmed that date yesterday, so we really haven't put the program together. But we are pleased to have Senator Stafford being in presence. You got to realize that man gave us a $54,000 grant for this. So we're, going to have him drop the first puck on the first high school game here.
Okay. That'll be that night.
That afternoon.
That afternoon, there'll be a game. George, your employees here, I think there's 3 or 4 at the most. They do a great job in this complex, keeping it up not only inside but outside. A lot of work here.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have Michael Bryan as a manager here. He's a real go-getter and really takes a big interest in this place. And he's got a good bunch of boys that knows what's going on here.
And they're young boys, most
yeah.
of them. And you're going to have them for a few years.
I hope so. I hope that we'll be fortunate enough to have them.
Particularly if you are good to them as a trustee chairman here, don't on their backs all the time.
I'm not on their backs.
You're never on their backs, huh?
No, I'm not on their backs. I'm easy.
You're easy?
You may think that I'm a tough guy, but I'm easy.
Anybody out there want to? His home number is.
No, I believe in fair play. I was the supervisor for a while, and and I understand, things happen, and if you can talk them out first, you're much better off.
Let me tell you, there's no big pay in being trustees, and you don't hear many good things said about you because people only complain. They don't come back and say what good. So if you've got something to say, good. Don't forget to a letter to the paper, or a telephone call and say, George, or any of the trustees, I like what you did. He knows you don't like it because they hear that. Not only in the village of Rouse's Point, any politician anywhere who's working hard for us. It's not all fun, is it, George? Huh?
No, it's not fun.
And they do a lot of thinking. They do a lot of thinking at home about it, and they're not all perfect, and they hear about it. So if there's good things to be said, say that too. Same thing goes with Hometown Cable. We don't expect that everything that's shown on Hometown Cable is going to be your favorite. Obviously, it's not. We appreciate your comments, constructive, and when there's something good to be said, we're glad to hear it. All the games and all the meetings that Calvin attends and Sam brought to you because they believe it should be. There are people also like the village here and Mike who build this little building up on the top where Calvin can have more comfort because it's cold in this building. And he's there an hour and a half just standing with that camera. And things like that, I'm sure he appreciates. The high school, Shazy, and NCCS have built buildings somewhere where they can get up off the ground and can get better pictures so that you can see your children, your relatives, your friends. None of this comes easy, so if you are not already a patron to Hometown Cable, I see where more patrons this year than ever before. You used to be 406 was top, you're up around 412, 420 now, and they're up over $10,000, not even half of what it should be. Become a patron. We thank all those that have, and we thank all those that will be giving during these next 2 months. Go over the top even more. And we'll see you next Sunday. Any final words, George?
No.
Future plans, sir?
Yeah, we have some future plans. We're hoping next spring, and we applied for a grant for Thousand Island Park, and we hope we get it. And if we get it, we'll have this place insulated, so that will make it more comfortable for everybody involved, and it will make it easier for us to make ice.
Okay. Once you make ice, can you heat the building at all? So that it's a little bit...
Yeah, you could, I think you could, and now that the type of equipment that we've got, I think we'd be able to put some heat in here.
We don't expect it to be like it is here in your room here, but it could be 60, but not 60, but 50 or something.
Not minus 20.
No, not minus 20, and that would stop the dripping and everything else that you get, for the condensation.
Yeah, once we insulate it, we won't have that. We'll eliminate that dripping problem.
Yeah.
And we'll eliminate like what the glasses are today, all fogged up.
Yep.
And maybe with some comfort, we're insulating it because we want to make the ice cheaper.
Right.
Because everything we have done in here is to energy efficiency. We put in special motors so that they don't draw less energy. We put in special starters on the motors so that we don't put a large demand on the system. That lighting out there, for people that were interested in it, the old lighting was 400 watt mercury vapor bulbs. The new lighting is 250 watt. They were just about cut the power consumption in half, and you ended up with a better lighting.
And maybe it's 5 or 6 times as much light as before.
All of that, yep.
And other things going to happen in the summer too, right?
Oh yeah, we've got people interested in coming in and playing lacrosse games. I think it's lacrosse. I don't know.
Yeah,
Mike would know.
He mentioned that.
And we're looking to maybe to have flea markets, auto shows, whatever we can book in here to help us. To make it a year-round facility, not just the way it was before.
Right. And it's a nice place to come. Weather, you don't have to worry about whether it's going to rain out your flea market or your car show outside.
Absolutely.
And the big 4th of July next year, you will have the singers and
everything,
will be inside.
We won't have to go through all that special detail of putting down boards and everything.
No, everything. Right. Yes, I told Ruth the other night, I saw Ruth, I said, Ruth, next 4th of July, you won't be on pallets. You'll be, she said, well, that's going to be great.
Yep.
And you'll be able to enjoy it even more. Anything else, George?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you taking the time talking with me.
Not a bit. Anything else we should know about the village that's going to happen in general that you know of that's coming up?
No, other than a lot of people are complaining about the power outage Saturday, but that was a necessity.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. It didn't just happen. It was planned. It was in the paper, right?
It was planned, but no, we estimated that we would be on by 11:30. Well, things happened.
It was later than that.
It was later than that. But all in all, it will make things much better in the long run, that we won't have to have these planned outages. Everything will be done and makes everything safer. We got rid of a lot of aerial lines up there in the substation, so everything is underground. And the boys really worked hard Saturday, but unfortunately they had more than I guess they had planned.
And you did it on a Saturday, so it didn't affect people getting ready to go to work and so forth.
That's true. Well, of course, you affect people. Wyeth Arista is working what they call flex shifts, so they work Saturday and Sunday. Of course, that's quite a shock to them when you shut them down for that period of time and they can't operate. So but you have to work with people. I think you can't be hard-nosed about it. We had scheduled a power outage for the week before, and there was people in the village business people that had concerns. So we sat down and said, yeah, they have a viable concern, so let's do it next week.
Okay.
Work with people. Don't fight with them. That's the thing. I think this board is tuned to that.
That's your motto.
Yeah.
Work with them. Don't fight with them.
Yep.
You know who said that? That's George Rivers who said that. Thank you very much for being with us, George. And great job with the pictures. Where are those pictures going to be kept after?
This is all going to the village.
Okay, it won't be put up in anywhere here?
We got 2 sets, so they're going to put another set up
It would be great
around here.
to
But
see,
this is going to be kept in the village as part of the archives, I guess you might say.
Okay, good record.
Yep.
Thank you for watching Hometown Cable. Program every Sunday. It's called What's Going On Here. Been going on for about 6 years now, and a little bit more maybe. Calvin Castine with the camera. My name is Bob Venn. I enjoy what I'm doing, and Calvin, I guess, must enjoy what he's doing, because I'm a volunteer, and unless more of you become patrons, he's not much more than that himself. He's getting expenses paid, but not much for himself. Become a patron. Tell him I said so. 1477 Ridge Road. I'm not going to give you my address. I'm just saying good night. Thanks for